Due to the popularity of One Punch Man and the cult status of the original web manga, I reckoned that it was about time I threw my hat in the ring. I'd like to formally announce my first series, One Kick Man. Look forward to the anime next year. One Punch Man is an action comedy series based on a manga by the mysterious web mangaka One and illustrator Yusuke Murata for publication in Young Jump webcomics. The anime is being directed by Shingo Natsume, known for his work as director of Space Dandy Hori-san Tomiya Murakun and as an episode director on Tatami Galaxy. But without further ado, I present the anime review of One Punch Man. With the power of a god, the speed of the Flash, and the appearance of Bruce Willis, One Punch Man has smashed its way onto Japanese TVs. After 3 years of intense training, out-of-work businessman Saitama discovers that he has gained seemingly limitless strength and the power to vanquish any foe in just one punch, and the series follows him doing just that. Oh, of course it sounds dull and all, but that's the premise, and it fully embraces this by surrounding him with scenarios that can make these moments fun. In recent years, gag comedy has been overtaken by more grounded series, making sure to deliver jokes through more realistic means. This isn't to say that the more out there sort of shows don't exist, as Sabagebu and Himoto Amaru-chan stake their entire existence on being absolute nuts to great success. However, One Punch Man is a different sort of beast, as it mixes gag comedy premises and characters with grounded reactions and execution. In other words, it's a ridiculous story that makes absolutely no sense, but everyone within that world takes it dead serious. And this offers brilliant satire of most action series, wrapped up in so much expositional nonsense that watching Saitama blow it all apart is refreshing to say the least. All of these deep backstories and long monologues that we're used to have been swept aside in place of non-stop, to-the-point action as it parodies some of the most annoying elements of battle series. However, when you attempt parody, there is always the chance that you may slip and fall into imitation. So when One Punch Man has a cheeky dig at the repetitive nature of such series, it ends up slipping into the trope itself, and much of the encounters feel very samey. There'll be a drawn-out dramatic fight only for Saitama to come in at the end and finish it off, only to get none of the credits. And that's the joke. For a bit anyways, until it seems to forget how to pull one off. The final arc featuring Boros was atrocious in this respect, and abandoned the most important part: the jokes. With a long drawn out battle, dramatic dialogue and impossible odds, One Punch Man stopped being a parody and showed the face behind the mask. A lack of narrative weight, a cardboard world, and characters that seem ripped out of the tweenies. As soon as the series stops being funny, which happens at multiple times, particularly in the latter half, it reveals these glaring problems. The final battle is amazing, but it lacks fuel. It never gave us anything to say, this battle is awesome since it started because of X, and Y is in danger, and Z will have some real trouble if other letter of the alphabet brings out his hidden form. It's like if you took the Dragon Ball Z fights and then stripped any sort of atmosphere or tension from it. At times, One Punch Man is a brilliant satire, but it doesn't have enough jokes in its utility belt to be able to keep this up, and since it spent the opening half working so hard to make us laugh, there's no foundations for anything else, and it makes it very difficult to build a house on top of, or a compelling story if you're not a fan of metaphors. Saitama can't support this show on his own, and One was well aware of that. introducing various new faces throughout as new heroes or villains take the stage. With Genos being the main part of this, we're given a new way of looking at the world and the challenges it faces as he struggles to take down monsters despite being one of the most powerful heroes out there. He's the anchor to the world that reminds us that it's not that the monsters are just really flaky, it's just that Saitama is really fucking strong. And in a world where heroes are about as frequent as Starbucks, we're introduced to far more members of the Heroes Association. Whether it's Silverfang, the mysterious Metal Knight, the brilliant Tornado, or the somewhat offensive Prisoner, they add an extra coating of eccentricity to the cake bowl. Tornado is fantastic and officially best girl. There's a brilliant moment in episode 9 where Licenseless Rider steps up to the stage and amazes us with an absolutely incredible speech about the nature of everyday heroism, and even amongst all the cool battles, it will be the moment I remember most from the show, and it's characters like these that I want to see more of. I just wish that the show had more characters like this, where they stand out from the crowd without making me cringe. Would you believe me if I told you that the composer for One Punch Man isn't actually very well known at all? Makoto Miyazaki was a bit of an underrated talent, being the man behind Dragon Crisis and Triage X, and as someone who has unashamedly watched both of these series, and somewhat embarrassingly quite enjoyed the latter, I'm so glad to see him get his big break here, and One Punch Man is some of his best work, putting his rock talents to the test. Now, this is the part where I usually talk about the animation. However, there is so much to say that I'm going to do something else. When the show started airing a couple months back, I produced a video in which I talked purely about the animation in episode 1 and how it came about. And according to 200,000 of you, that video was quite popular. And so I will be doing a part 2 talking about the rest of the show from an animation perspective. You will find a link to both parts on screen, with the second link being activated when the video is out. One Punch Man is definitely good, and it presents a new type of action show with a strong focus on its parody aspects as it plays out as a satire of its competitors. With a few strong, engaging characters, incredible animation, and hilarious moments, it stands out among other shows this season. Whilst it may not have had the creativity of Concrete Revolution or the majesty of Gundam Orphans, it managed to hold its own and gather a huge following with its Hollywood-esque spectacle and satirical nature. But as it went on, it struggled to balance the spectacle and the satire as it started to get a bit clunky, which is a problem that consists throughout the manga, but to a lesser extent. Don't get me wrong, One Punch Man is great, but so are penguins. You look at a penguin and immediately you think, that is a great bird. But if its wings were just a bit bigger, it'd be able to soar to extraordinary new heights. And One Punch Man is one such penguin. It swims, it waddles, it excels at being a penguin, but it just isn't the flying penguin it could have been, and failed to execute these pinpoint features of its premise. So yes, you should watch One Punch Man if for some reason you are still asking that. Honestly, if I don't tell you, all of your friends will anyways. It's super popular right now, which is brilliant for the Western anime industry. One Punch Man is available to watch on Hulu, Daisuki, whatever Animax is, and Anime Lab. Those links are in the description. Thanks for watching the Canipa Effect. I do have t-shirts available at canipa.spreadshirt.com, and stay tuned for the second part of my One Punch Man animator spotlight.